Have you ever really thought about how a brand new university actually comes to be? From just a name on a piece of paper to a real functioning campus with thousands of students? Well, it's definitely not as simple as just putting up a few buildings. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the whole thing, the really rigorous, multi-layered process of approvals and regulations that a university has to go through. It's all to make sure it meets a super high standard of quality right from day one.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it down. We're going to follow the entire journey, step by step. We'll start from the moment a university is legally born on paper, then we'll get into the intense national inspections it has to pass. And finally, we'll cover the strict rules it has to follow every single day to protect students and maintain its quality. All right, first things first. Before any land is cleared, before a single professor is hired, a university has to legally exist. It has to be official. And this right here? This is basically the university's official birth certificate. It's an act, published in the Maharashtra Government Gazette. And for Sanjivani University, this amendment is what made it a real legal entity as of March 18, 2024. So here's the crucial question. Just because it's born on paper, does that mean it can start admitting students and handing out degrees? The answer is a big, fat no. This state-level act is just the beginning. To get the real power to operate, a much bigger national body has to weigh in. And that brings us to the next critical step. This is all about getting national recognition from the University Grants Commission, the UGC. They're pretty much the main regulatory body for all of higher education in India. This really shows you those two layers of approval perfectly. On one side, you've got the state act that created the university, but on the other, you have the letter from the UGC, the national gatekeeper, officially putting Sanjivani University on its list of recognized institutions. And let me tell you, that listing is absolutely essential for any of its degrees to be valid across the country. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, the UGC puts a very clear warning right in their letter. It's not just a friendly suggestion, it's a hard and fast rule. Just being on the list does not mean the university can open its doors and start admitting students. Nope, there's another major hurdle they have to clear first. So what's next? Well, this is where the real test begins. The UGC now has to verify that this university isn't just a legal name, but a real place, with actual resources and the infrastructure you need to give students a quality education. This next stage is basically a high-stakes test that every single new university has to pass before it can welcome anyone. It's a whole inspection process designed to guarantee both accountability and, of course, quality. And believe me, this process is incredibly thorough. It all starts with public transparency. They literally post the university's data online for anyone to see and comment on. Then they bring in the experts who conduct a physical on-site inspection of the campus. The university even gets a chance to respond before the UGC makes its final call. The whole thing is designed to make sure it's a legitimate place of learning, not just a name on a piece of paper. And that expert committee, they are meticulous. They look at absolutely everything, from the courses being offered and the qualifications of the teachers to the physical stuff like libraries and labs. They even dig into the university's financial stability. They have to make sure every single box is ticked to uphold the high standards we expect from higher education in India. Okay, so once a university gets that final green light, it's not a free-for-all. There is a very strict rule book it has to follow from then on. And honestly, this is the part that matters most for students and their families because it directly affects the quality and the integrity of their education. Take the rules on expansion, for example. They are crystal clear. A university can open another center within its home state, but only after getting specific approval from the UGC. But opening a campus outside the state, that is strictly forbidden. And this rule is actually backed by a Supreme Court judgment, all to make sure that a university's focus and resources stay right where they should be, on its main campus. And there's more. A private university can't just franchise its brand for distance learning, and it can't have a bunch of affiliated colleges either. This is all about accountability. It ensures that the university itself is directly responsible for the quality of every single degree it puts its name on. But what about the students? I mean, what happens when things go wrong? Well, the regulations have strong protections for their rights too. It's not enough to just provide classes. Universities have to have systems in place for when students have issues. Let's see what those are. Every single university is required to appoint what's called an ombudsperson. Think of this person as an impartial official, almost like a referee whose only job is to hear out and solve student complaints. This creates a formal, accessible way for every student to be heard and hopefully get a fair solution to their problems. All of this is part of a regulatory philosophy that's a key piece of the national education policy. It's often called light but tight, and the whole idea really boils down to one word: transparency. Universities have to publicly share detailed info about their courses, their fees, their faculty, their infrastructure, all of it, right there on their website. This empowers students and the public to make really informed choices.
But these rules, as extensive as they are, they're not just about bureaucracy and ticking boxes. They're actually about building a solid foundation for something much, much bigger. The physical campus itself is a direct result of that tough UGC inspection process, but it's so much more than just a collection of buildings, right? It's the physical embodiment of the university's vision, its mission, coming to life.
And this really shows how regulatory compliance is just the launch pad. By meeting all these strict requirements, a university earns the right to chase its bigger, more ambitious goals, like fostering innovation, doing world-class research, and ultimately serving society in a meaningful way. And that really brings us to the big question at the heart of all these regulations. How do you find that perfect balance between strict oversight to guarantee quality and the freedom and autonomy that universities need to really innovate and grow into world-class institutions? It's a huge challenge for sure, but it's one this entire framework is designed to meet. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.